As a joint dual income household, how does your portfolio look like?
We've saved close to 3 CR of our combined income. I believe we've always maintained that 60 to 70% savings threshold.
Another thing that you talked about in your portfolio is NPS, something that's relatively unknown for a retail investor. Would love to chat more about that.
It's good to have a house as an asset because real estate is again an evergreen asset. But to have the EMIs on your head, I don't think you can ever be financially free because you have that persistent expense that will be there for the next 10, 20 years of your life. I was drafted to work for the UK division, and at that time, if I converted into rupees, I was drawing close to 1 CR per annum. I had started my financial journey in my early 20s. A lot of people say that you start at a later age, compounding doesn't work. You can put in a large sum and still get to that same goal faster. But to have that conviction to see markets not doing well at all for 5 years and then doing that spike in 1 year, you need to be involved in the market to see that.
Hi Rohit and hi Chetna, and welcome to Power Pioneers. We'll start with Rohit. Your journey is what piqued my interest from working almost 10 years in analytics to shifting to travel industry and now handling finances and towards the financial independence goal. What made you make that shift?
So I had worked in the industry for about 10 years into data analytics. After a certain point of time, I kind of felt that the work hours was becoming too long. And I had started my financial journey in my early 20s. So I believe as a couple, we had a corpus good enough wherein I can pursue my dream of kind of semi-retirement working in something that I love and not caring too much about finances because that has already been kind of taken care of. And as soon as the opportunity came, I felt that, I have to try it because you live only once. So why not try or why not do what you really want to do in life?
Wow. How did your income rise over the years?
So in Cognizant, when I started, my take home was 45,000 per month. This was back in 2013. 2015, when I joined Accenture as an analyst, my take home increased to 80,000 per month. When I left Accenture in 2020, I was drawing close to 1.75 lakhs per month. I joined a startup as their analytics lead. My take home increased to 2 lakhs per month. And I joined EXL, which is an analytics organization, in 2023. And I was drafted to work for the UK division. And at that time, if I converted into rupees, I was drawing close to 1 CR per annum. And I took a major fall in terms of my income because now I'm earning close to 1.7, 1.8 lakhs per month. You get to follow your hobby and you get paid for it, so nothing like it.
Plus, you can balance your life as well.
Yeah.
You're not working every day.
I think that if you put a number to your time, I think you'll be earning much more, right? Because you have now the time and the freedom to spend that time with your family.
Absolutely.
So totally. Probably Chetna, you can shed more light. You have been in this industry all throughout, right? How does one pursue a career here?
After my graduation, I directly went to Indigo Airlines. And then in 2013, I joined Saudi Arabian Airlines. And it's been 11 years that I'm working for them. I'm based in Saudi Arabia right now, but I keep on coming to Delhi because I have my family here. And so far, it is wonderful. The pay and exposure, traveling, everything is great. So it's like very addictive.
And how does pay increase with time in this industry?
Sure. So when I started my career with Indigo Airlines, I started with like 25, then it became 30, 35 because I became senior there, so I got like 40, 45. When I went to Saudi Arabian Airlines, so my first paycheck was around 1,20,000 back in 2013, and it was a very big jump for me.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm drawing approximately 2.5 to 3 lakhs per month.
Oh, that's nice. So you said you started your financial journey in early 20s and you were at that phase in your life where you could take that plunge. So let's talk a little bit about that financial journey, how you planned for it, how you saved, invested when you were by yourself and then also together as a couple.
Sure. Both of us come from a middle class background wherein our parents were also in the service industry. So savings was all kind of always driven into us. When I started working with Cognizant in 2013, I was 21 by then. I started with a salary of close to 45,000. And I was putting in a recurring deposit of 25,000 every month. And I could do that because I was staying with family. I did a recurring deposit for 3 years, and then my dad, he introduced me to the equity markets. By that time, my salary had grown a bit, so I wanted to save on taxes. So he introduced me to an ELSS plan. And then I kind of was drawn towards the equity market. I did some study by myself, and I realized that there are other segments where I can invest in as well. So then I started with a small cap mutual fund, a mid cap mutual fund, and now with my wife, we have a large cap mutual fund as well. As a family, what we've done is we've kind of diversified our investments into various buckets. My spouse, she primarily does fixed deposits and NSCs, which takes care of a return. I mean, in case everything goes haywire, you're still getting a certain amount of money home. Whereas what I do with my salary is invest it into primarily equity. So as a couple, we've kind of diversified and put our eggs in various buckets.
Okay, got it. And as a joint dual income household, how does your portfolio look like? How much is in equity? How much is in debt?
Sure. So we've saved close to 3 CR of our combined income. Close to 1.5 CR are in mutual funds and in stocks. Mutual funds are still 90% of that equity portfolio. We just started with stock investing as well. Fixed deposits would be close to 50 lakhs. National Savings Certificate would be 50 lakhs. Provident Fund would be again close to 40-50 lakhs. We have NPS as well, which various organizations offer. 20-25 lakhs over there, and rest are all liquid investments for our day-to-day expenses.
Got it. And you touched upon a couple of asset classes. So would love to understand, I think first, which is major component of mutual fund.
It's pretty much 30% small cap, 30% mid cap, and 40% in the large cap. I still remember when I started with the small cap mutual fund segment wasn't generating great returns from 2014 till 2018. There's some industry regulations at play. I still remember looking at my portfolio 4 years down the line and it had zero returns. And something came in my mind that I said I might as well withdraw the money, but thankfully sense prevailed and I continued with it. And small caps typically now are drawing on an average, your XIRR is close to 20-25%.
Yeah.
And that includes the 4 years of absolutely zero returns. So there are great years where your portfolio can absolutely jump and make up for those lost years as well. The mid cap will be slightly lower, I believe. Again, typical to the index, but depending on the fund house, if it does well, then you will kind of beat the index as well. And large caps, of late, they've done pretty well. Again, large caps, when we started in 2021, a couple of years were again zero returns, similar to the index. But they've started doing well, so it makes up close to 15-18% as well.
Got it. Double clicking on within mutual funds, right? How do you actually select that, X fund house? How do you do that choice of or selection of mutual funds?
So for me, primarily, the major factors would be if it comes from a reputed fund house. Typically, people also look at their past returns, but past returns can vary because the turnover ratio of funds are different. It depends on when you are entering and how they decide to look at the market. The second factor that I look at is the AUM. Again, there are hundreds of funds. They might be generating better returns than the typically large fund houses. But I feel it's a risky bet to take because if the AUM is not large enough, I don't know, I'm still a bit skeptical in that matter that they might just go bust. The third thing would primarily be the expense ratio and the exit load. Ideally, if you're generating returns, even if they're slightly better than the index at the smaller mid cap and have a comparatively lower expense ratio or an exit load, then I'll typically go ahead with those. So all the three fund houses that we have are typically of reputed fund houses and they're being managed by a reputed fund manager.
Got it. So you have only three, you have fewer mutual funds.
Yeah, it's just three, one small, mid and large.
Oh, so you keep your life very simple. That's nice.
And ignorance is bliss, I think, for that regard.
Another thing that you talked about in your portfolio is NPS. And I think NPS is something that's relatively unknown for a retail investor. Would love to chat more about that, like what they are and how does that fit into your portfolio strategy overall.
Sure. So NPS, there's a corporate NPS plan that is offered by certain organizations. That is when I got introduced to NPS. Primary goal at that point was to saving on taxes because I had reached that 30% tax threshold. So tax savings was one. Then you have to choose between different fund houses who offer a national pension savings scheme plan. As part of corporate NPS, 10% of your basic income is deducted and they put that money in whatever fund house you've chosen. Depending on your age, they split it between equity and debt. So the younger you are, the NPS will put that money in either equity or debt, and that proportion will kind of increase towards debt as you age in your life. And by the time you turn 60, you can withdraw 60% of your corpus as tax-free. And 40% will be put in an annuity plan. So it kind of gives in a retirement fund for yourself. Even if you've done no investments, you still have some money that you can count on once you've stopped working.
Where do you purchase it from, NPS?
So corporate NPS, the organization had offered that amount. You can choose between 0 to 10% of your basic salary. So I put in 10% of my salary. You can choose that on the NPS website. If you go there, you'll have the fund houses that offer various NPS and what are the returns that they offer.
Got it. Understood.
And the other tax saving element is, so when you're filing your taxes, your ATCCD, if you put in an additional 50,000 from your part, you can save an additional 50,000 on your taxes as well. So what I do is I do the corporate NPS, and apart from that, every year I put in 50K as well. Extra in it.
And what returns typically you get? Because it's a mix of equity and debt, right? So it's still, I would expect on the higher side, the returns.
It is. The XIRR for 560 that I've done till now is close to 14 to 15%. which is
Oh,
kind
that's
of
pretty
similar to
good.
the large cap
Cap.
index.
Yeah, right. So, Chetna, how do you plan the finances together? And as Rohit was mentioning, you invest your savings or like your money into FDs.
Yes.
What's your take overall on this?
So when I started earning in 2011, I had no clue about equity, mutual funds, nothing. I didn't know anything about it. But then only thing I knew was FD. So that's how I started putting my money in fixed deposits, so that at least I'll have anything which is risk free, and plus I'll have growth also. Whatever I'm getting, like 8%, 9%, whatever I'm getting, at least I'm getting something out of it. So that was my take on it, and I've been doing it till now because Rohit is investing in other things. So at least I should have something which will have growth and which is risk free.
Okay. You touched upon being debt free, right? So you never had any loans all throughout your life.
Nothing. So in 2017-18, we decided to purchase a property. And that is the major area where people get into EMIs. I mean, it's good to have a house as an asset because real estate is, again, an evergreen asset. But to have the EMIs on your head, I don't think you can ever be financially free because you have that persistent expense that will be there for the next 10, 20 years of your life. So we're scouting for a property and we decided to purchase a property in Noida from a reputed builder, and we did all of that debt free. The property has appreciated as well, and the fact that we've gone debt free is a major relief for us. We purchased a car as well. It was a mini SUV, and again, we have that thinking that we're not going to do anything on EMIs. We purchased that again with our overall portfolio, or with the disposable income that we had in hand. And,
Got it. So a lump sum down payment for the entire.
Yeah, an entire 100% payment when we purchased this particular car.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And I think having a kid is expensive. How did your finances and your approach to finances change after having a kid?
It does. It does. What we did extra was that it was a joint decision that we took, which is we started with a 50,000 per month SIP large cap plan for her specifically. The primary reason being that somehow wanted that safety or that safety net wherein if we do a 50K investment, even if the returns are slightly lower, we have certain money for her education. She wants to study in India, she wants to go to the States, whatever she wants to do. So we knew that traveling as a family, that expense will go up, and primarily the educational expense will go up. So that is where we kind of pivoted more towards equity, because we knew that within 5 years, we will have more income if, God willing, the markets behave well, as compared to some of the other debt investments. So that was pretty much the framework that we had, and the NSC was done with that point of view itself, because we kind of locked in that money for 5 years, that when our child, she turns 4, that is when we get that corpus, and that's kind of locked in with security, because that's a government-backed security.
Okay. No, that's interesting. And as income increases, right, I think it's important that your expenses are in check. How much goes into savings, like investments, how much goes into expenses, and how has it changed over the years as the household income grew?
I believe we've always maintained that 60 to 70% savings threshold. And we used to put at least 6 months of our monthly salary in our savings account just to account for something unexpected. When COVID happened and we saw how medical expenses can drastically, erase your portfolio, we realized how important a health insurance is, because we didn't have one. But that gave us a sense that even if one of us got hospitalized at that stage, that would have taken a major dent on our portfolios as well. Then we kind of made sure that despite keeping 6 months of our salary as disposable income for our expenses, we put in health insurance as well. We have our own splurges wherein we tend to enjoy as a family, but we make sure that we're still serving close to 60 to 70% of our income. That is primarily because, again, we live as a family, so the joy of living with family alongside saving your money and investing it for a better future.
Got it. So if you were to give advice to someone today from your mistakes that you have made so far, and what people should not do, what would those be?
I mean, in my humble opinion, I can just say that just start early, because life is very unpredictable. The job market nowadays has become pretty tough. You might be a millionaire earning a rich sum, living a very lavish lifestyle, and the next day they might just decide to throw you out. So always prepare for a rainy day, get exposure into various asset classes, get that confidence of seeing how the market performs, especially equity for that matter, because a lot of people say that, you start at a later age, compounding doesn't work, you can put in a large sum and still get to that same goal faster. But to have that conviction to see markets not doing well at all for 5 years and then doing that spike in 1 year, where it makes up the 5 is that you need to be involved in the market to see that. You cannot track that if
Right.
you're not investing. So test your waters with a small amount and you'll slowly and steadily see the magic happening as the power of compounding works. So start young, live a debt-free lifestyle, avoid EMIs at all costs because you can never be financially free if you have a EMI on your head. And enjoy life as well. Work hard, party harder, save hardest.
Yeah, I think that's such a nice quote. So yeah, I think with this, let's do a quick rapid fire. Who's a saver? Who's a spender?
I'm the spender.
Yeah, I'm the saver.
What's the most expensive gift that you have given to your spouse?
iPhone, which she lost in 10
Yeah.
days.
Oh no! And what did you give to him? Any expensive item?
Yeah, I think it was a watch.
That is also lost.
Oh,
Yeah, so I kind of repaid it back.
oh no wonder you are so controlled on your expenses. So now that you have a child, right? If the child suppose asks something or something very expensive, who is more likely to give in to that request?
I think me. I will.
Cool. Given that both of you travel so much, who is more likely to splurge on the travel?
Both of us, without a doubt.
Okay. And who is more likely to find a discount or a deal?
That would be
He's
me.
famous for that.
Because money, I mean, the discount earned is basically money earned. So I go with that philosophy. And even if you're booking something, I'll always try and find the next best.
Great. Thank you so much. I had
Thank
so
you.
much fun. We hope you liked the video. If you want to join our podcast and share your story, fill the form in the pinned comments.